The crystal wine glass felt heavy in my hand as I sat through another excruciating Thanksgiving dinner, listening to my sister Katherine brag about her latest promotion at Wilson Global Enterprises. The massive dining room of my parents' estate echoed with forced laughter and the subtle sound of designer heels clicking against marble floors. Chief Marketing Officer, Katherine announced for the third time that evening, adjusting her Cartier bracelet. Youngest in the company's history. We're so proud, my mother gushed, touching Katherine's arm. Aren't we, Robert? My father nodded, his attention fixed on his eldest daughter's success. The Wilson name means something in business circles. Katherine understands that. I took another sip of wine, remembering when I'd worked at Wilson Global too, a junior analyst position I'd quit 3 years ago to start my own business. The memory of my father's reaction still stung. You're throwing away everything we built, he'd shouted. A Wilson doesn't run some tiny retail shop. But La Maison wasn't just some shop. Behind the carefully curated window displays and elegant interior of my boutique lay something much bigger, something my family was too busy sneering to notice. So Emma, Katherine turned to me with that familiar condescending smile. Still running that little boutique? Selling what, dresses and scarves? I thought about the real business empire I'd built, hidden behind La Maison's modest facade. The global supply chain company that operated in shadows, the technology platform that was revolutionizing retail logistics, the silent acquisitions that were reshaping entire industries. The shop's doing well, I said simply, cutting into my turkey. Well, Katherine laughed. Is that what you call it? Breaking even on overpriced accessories while the rest of us build real careers. Our mother touched her pearls nervously. Now, Katherine, not everyone can handle corporate leadership like you can. Is creative. This little shop keeps her busy. I bit back a smile, thinking of the meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. Wilson Global Enterprises was failing, not that my family knew it yet. Their outdated supply chain was bleeding money, their technology was years behind, and their market share was crumbling. Actually, I said carefully, I'm expanding, opening a few new locations. Katherine nearly choked on her wine. Expanding? With what money? Last I checked, retail shops don't exactly print cash. If she only knew about the billions in revenue my real company Phoenix Global Solutions had generated last year. About the vast network of logistics centers, the cutting-edge AI systems, the fleet of autonomous vehicles that were transforming how goods moved around the world. I've been saving, I said mildly. Making smart investments. My father scoffed. Smart investments? The only smart investment is climbing the corporate ladder. Building connections. Making the Wilson name mean something. The Wilson name. Everything always came back to that. Our ancestors had founded Wilson Global Enterprises 3 generations ago, but the company had stagnated under its current leadership. My father sat on the board, more concerned with tradition than innovation. Katherine played corporate politics while the business crumbled around her. Speaking of investments, Katherine smirked. Did you hear about Wilson Global's latest acquisition? We just bought out our biggest competitor in the Asian market. The deal closes tomorrow. I nodded, suppressing a laugh. That competitor was one of my shell companies, created specifically to be acquired, loaded with outdated technology and overvalued assets. Wilson Global was about to pay 10 times what it was worth. Impressive, I murmured, refilling my wine. You wouldn't understand the complexities, Katherine continued. It's high-level corporate strategy. The kind of thing that takes real business acumen, not just retail experience. My phone buzzed quietly, a message from my CFO. Everything's set for tomorrow. Their board doesn't suspect a thing. How much are they paying? I asked innocently. $300 million, my father answered proudly. Our biggest deal this year. $300 million for a company worth barely $30 million. The money would flow directly into Phoenix Global's accounts, giving us even more leverage for what came next. Sounds significant, I said. It's transformative, Katherine declared. This puts Wilson Global at the forefront of global logistics. No one can compete with our supply chain now. I thought about Phoenix Global's real supply chain, the one that had been quietly taking over the industry while Wilson Global chased outdated technology. Tomorrow they would discover just how far behind they really were. More wine, my mother offered, trying to smooth over the tension she always felt when my career came up. No thanks. I checked my watch. I should actually get going. Early morning tomorrow. Oh right, Katherine snickered. Got to open the shop. Those scarves won't sell themselves. I stood up, smoothing my simple black dress Chanel, not that they'd notice. Exactly. Those scarves need attention. My father barely looked up from his plate. You could still come back, you know. I'm sure Katherine could find a suitable position for you. Something appropriate for your skills. Thanks, Dad, but I'm happy where I am. Happy? Katherine's laugh was sharp. Running a boutique while the rest of us change the business world? That's not happiness, Emma. That's settling. I gathered my things, thinking about the documents waiting in my office, papers that would change everything tomorrow morning. We'll see. What's that supposed to mean? Katherine demanded. Just that success comes in many forms. I kissed my mother's cheek goodbye. See you all tomorrow. Tomorrow. My father frowned. We don't have plans tomorrow. No, I smiled. But I have a feeling we'll be seeing each other anyway. I drove home to my penthouse apartment, paid for with Phoenix Global profits. Not that my family knew that. The lights of the city sparkled below as I reviewed tomorrow's presentation one last time. Wilson Global Enterprises was about to discover that they'd spent $300 million buying a shell company. Their stock would plummet. The board would panic. And then Phoenix Global would step in with an offer they couldn't refuse. My phone buzzed again, another message from my CFO. Board meeting set for 9 a.m. Wilson Global's executive team will all be there. Including Katherine, their proud new chief marketing officer. Including my father, the board member more concerned with family name than business sense. I poured myself a glass of champagne, watching the bubbles rise in the crystal flute. Tomorrow they would learn that the little boutique owner they'd dismissed had built something far greater than they could imagine. Tomorrow they would discover that while they were busy mocking my small shop, I was quietly buying their empire out from under them. Sometimes success doesn't need to shout. Sometimes it whispers, hidden behind modest storefronts and simple black dresses. Sometimes it waits patiently, building in silence, until the perfect moment to reveal its true face. I picked up the latest Wilson Global financial report, marked with Phoenix Global's confidential stamps. Inside was a detailed analysis of every weakness, every vulnerability, every crack in their corporate facade. To family, I toasted the empty room, thinking of tomorrow's revelation. And to underestimating the wrong daughter. The Wilson Global Enterprises headquarters still looked exactly as I remembered it, 60 floors of gleaming glass and steel, the family name emblazoned in gold letters across the lobby. I'd worked here once in a tiny cubicle on the 19th floor. Now I owned the building through one of Phoenix Global's real estate subsidiaries, not that anyone knew that yet. My Louboutin heels clicked against the marble floor as I approached the security desk. The guard looked up, confused. He was used to seeing me in my boutique owner clothes, not the Armani powersuit I wore today. Ms. Wilson? Are you here to see your sister? I handed him my Phoenix Global ID. His eyes widened as he read the title. Sue. I'm here for the board meeting, I said calmly. Top floor. The elevator ride gave me time to review the morning's schedule. In exactly 17 minutes, Wilson Global's board would announce their triumphant acquisition of Asian logistics competitor Terra Tech, my shell company. 5 minutes after that, Terra Tech's true financials would be revealed to the market. And then, as their stock price plummeted, Phoenix Global would emerge as their only hope for survival. The boardroom doors were already open when I arrived. Inside, the company's leadership team sat around the massive mahogany table, my sister Katherine among them in a designer suit that probably cost more than my boutique's monthly rent. My father occupied his usual seat, looking imperious in his bespoke Italian suit. Neither of them noticed me slip quietly into the back of the room. Ladies and gentlemen, Wilson Global CEO began. Today marks a historic moment for our company. With the acquisition of Terra Tech, we've secured our position as the leading logistics provider in Asia. Katherine beamed, probably already planning how to take credit for the deal in her next social media post. The papers are signed, the CEO continued, and we've initiated the transfer of $300 million to finalize the purchase. I checked my phone. A message from my CFO, transfer received. releasing TerraTech's real financials to the market in 3, 2, 1. The boardroom's massive screens suddenly lit up with urgent notifications. Stock alerts. News headlines. Financial reports. Sir, a junior analyst burst into the room, face pale. TerraTech's numbers, they're all wrong. The company's virtually worthless. The CEO's presentation clicker clattered to the table. What? Their technology is outdated. Their contracts are worthless. Their assets are massively overvalued. Our stock is down 30% already and falling. Chaos erupted. Board members shouted questions. Executives frantically checked their phones. Katherine's perfectly maintained composure cracked as she watched her corporate dreams crumble in real time. How did this happen? My father thundered, rising from his chair. Who did the due diligence? I did. My voice cut through the panic, clear and calm. Every head turned. Katherine's mouth fell open. My father's face went from red to white in an instant. Emma, what are you doing here? I walked to the front of the room, each step measured and deliberate. I'm here representing Phoenix Global Solutions. We own TerraTech, along with about 30% of Wilson Global's outstanding shares, purchased through various subsidiaries over the past year. Phoenix Global? The CEO's voice shook. The company that's been dominating global logistics for the past 2 years? The same. I smiled, thinking of my little boutique, the perfect cover for building an empire. We've been watching Wilson Global for a while now. Your outdated technology, your inefficient processes, your declining market share. Today's acquisition was the final test. You failed. Katherine found her voice, though it trembled. You're just a shop owner. This is impossible. Am I? I pulled up Phoenix Global's corporate overview on the screens. Founded 3 years ago. Current market value, $12 billion. Operational networks in 27 countries. And yes, Katherine, I own a boutique. It's an excellent place to observe retail logistics firsthand. My father gripped the table edge. Why? Why would you do this? Because you taught me that the Wilson name means something in business circles. Remember? I met his eyes steadily. So I built something worthy of that name. Something bigger than your outdated corporate hierarchy. Something that actually innovates instead of just talking about it. The CEO cleared his throat. What do you want? I opened my briefcase, removing a thick folder. Phoenix Global is prepared to acquire Wilson Global Enterprises. All shares, all assets, all operations. The offer is fair, more than fair, considering your company's current situation. You want to buy us out? Katherine's voice rose hysterically. Your own family's company? No, Katherine. I already own enough of the company to force this through. This is just a courtesy, an offer to make the transition smoother. My father stood up shakily. You can't do this. We're your family. Family. I laughed softly. Was it family when you dismissed my business plans? When you mocked my boutique? When you told me I was embarrassing the Wilson name? I walked around the table slowly, enjoying the way they squirmed under my gaze. While you were all busy laughing at my little shop, I was building the future of global logistics. While Katherine was playing corporate politics, I was revolutionizing supply chain technology. While you were protecting your precious family name, I was making it actually mean something. The board will never approve this, my father blustered. The board doesn't have a choice. I nodded to my CFO, who had quietly entered the room. Show them. He distributed documents showing Phoenix Global's true ownership of Wilson Global assets. The board members' faces fell as they realized how completely they'd been outmaneuvered. You have 1 hour to accept the offer, I said calmly. After that, we'll proceed with a hostile takeover. Your stock price is falling by the minute. Your Asian acquisition is worthless. Your company is bleeding market share to our superior technology. Katherine stood up, tears threatening her perfect makeup. This is all about revenge, isn't it? Making us pay for not believing in you. I turned to her, feeling almost sorry for her limited understanding. No, Katherine. This is about business. Pure and simple. Your company is failing. Mine is thriving. This acquisition makes perfect sense, personally satisfying as it might be. And what happens to us? My father asked quietly. That depends. I sat down at the head of the table, his seat until now. Katherine can keep her position for now, though she'll need to actually earn it. You can maintain your board seat, but as a minor member without voting rights. Or you can all walk away with your shares paid out at current market value, which I should warn you is dropping by the second. The CEO looked at his phone and blanched. Down 40% now. Tick-tock, I smiled. Time to decide. The next hour passed in a blur of paperwork and legal discussions. The board voted to accept Phoenix Global's offer. They had no real choice. Katherine sat silently, her corporate ambitions dissolving around her. My father looked years older, the weight of his own poor judgment finally catching up to him. As the papers were signed, my mother burst into the boardroom. She must have heard the news. Emma, how could you do this to your family? I stood up, straightening my suit jacket. I didn't do anything to our family, Mom. I built something. Something real. Something more than just a name and a corner office. But what about your little shop? La Maison stays exactly as it is. A profitable boutique that lets me observe retail trends firsthand. The perfect cover for building something bigger. I gathered my papers. Oh, and those scarves Katherine loves to mock? They're manufactured by one of Phoenix Global's textile subsidiaries. We supply half the luxury brands in Europe. I walked to the door, then turned back one last time. The Wilson name still means something in business circles. Just not the way you expected it to. That evening I sat in my real office, the top floor of Phoenix Global's headquarters. The city sparkled below, a web of lights and movement, all connected by the logistics network I'd built. My phone buzzed with messages. Katherine, I'm sorry. I never knew. Dad, can we talk? Please. Mom, we should have believed in you. I set the phone aside, turning instead to the latest acquisition proposals on my desk. Success isn't about proving others wrong, it's about proving yourself right. It's not about revenge, it's about building something meaningful while others underestimate you. The boutique still opens every morning at 10. I still visit regularly, helping customers find the perfect scarf or handbag. Some might see it as strange, a billionaire CEO playing shopkeeper. But they don't understand that every great business starts with understanding the smallest details. Katherine eventually learned to earn her position, though she never quite regained her corporate swagger. My father still sits on the board, humbled but finally learning to listen. My mother stops by the boutique sometimes, finally seeing it for what it always was, not just a shop, but the visible tip of an empire. Me. I keep building, keep innovating, keep proving that success doesn't always wear a corporate title or announce itself with a family name. Sometimes it hides behind a simple storefront, growing in silence until the perfect moment to reveal its true face. The Wilson name does mean something in business circles now. Just not what they expected. Not what they planned. Something bigger. Something better. Something built by the daughter they underestimated, one quiet victory at a time.